you want me in here?
This is a good thing we called chat.
It's the one right here.
It's in my lovely wall.
Okay. It looks great.
There's some love there. Everybody's wondering where you are.
It's our reunion and our memorial
For
people that passed on our squadron.
what squadron? That's what I mean.
Oh, it's two different ones.
Uh-huh.
It's all the Viking SENSOs.
Where are the other?
San Diego.
Okay, I know we just come up and check. We weren't even coming for this, but we just watching the call.
Yeah, I know. I got this guy talking to me.
Okay.
I don't have the answers, so sorry. Sorry. Okay, what do you think?
You were blocking pictures.
I understand, but I have a question for you. So, how, is that a wide enough frame?
Yeah.
Okay, you don't want it in the side? I was like worried about that. I saw all these guys.
They're listening to us.
I'm still here. And what's funny is, you guys ever do Corvex? You do the score range. I still work. No shit. I gotta work from home. There in my coach, so I came down here and Corvex is 2 stars and so on. So you probably graded me out. Yeah. We stand there and do the it's way more than ASW. So yeah, no. Yeah, last night, no, it's Air Force guys. Oh, yeah, Air Force mining run, the old Eel Point mine run. Oh, I heard that in a long time.
Did you cut the shirt?
How's it going?
Remember we had the sign that said W Buddy David and stuff like that? I don't think we'll see it. Yeah, maybe him.
Yeah, this is 3D mission. Graduated in 91. Still my wife out
Yeah. No shit.
There's bacon. We got a good trip. Oh man, I've seen about 10 Cybertrucks there. I've never seen a Cybertruck before. How did you choose that here? Well, then they said somebody's just got to have a dual. Oh, that's your question.
Oh yeah. Your brother knows.
Yeah. Hello, how are you? Well, thanks. Hanging out on the fringes for a reason. You shy? You're the shy. How are you? Ready? Cool. Thank you. Yeah, I got the same legs and the chair. Yeah, I gave it. Yeah. Oh, you cleaned up. You got another one that looks like that.
You don't look like it too much, except
I just figured the hair was cleaned up, and I was like, all right. I just knew he's still tall, still looks like he's.
Yeah,
Now, how does that work?
well, darn it for them.
Looking like you.
Go ahead and get started in 1 minute. You guys can gather up. I think we're all good to do. Programs have been passed out, correct? Yeah.
I'd like
Thumbs
one.
up. Okay. Yep. 1 minute. During that minute, you could please silence the phone. No calls. Sorry. You guys all know how that works, right? What happens if you get a phone call during a meeting? Yes.
Tired,
You have somebody keeping track.
whatever I want.
just want to say what an incredible honor it is to be here as your master of ceremonies and a fellow naval aviator. I understand amongst some amazing naval aviators and maybe one convert that went Air Force. I'm not sure how that It's always one, right? My name is Commander Sean Mulrooney, United States Navy, retired. I'm on the Board of Trustees here with the Mount Soledad Memorial Association. I will be your Master of Ceremonies for today's event. Assisting me today, I've got an amazing group of folks, all volunteer group. We'll start with Joe Centinello. Joe is one of our docents here. And if afterwards you want to meet up with any of our docents, they can give you a guided tour around our beautiful memorial. We have Mike Edwards. Michael Edwards, thank you very much. Becky Evlith, the glue that makes this whole place stick together. Thank you, Becky, very much. And our Executive Director, Neil O'Connell. There you go. Here. We have one ear. There we are. All right. And one of our most important volunteers, our most active volunteer every year. You may know him, Bottom Gun McCullum. For those of you who don't know what Bob does here, Bob cleans this memorial every day. Every day he comes up here and keeps this place looking as sharp as it does. We can't thank him enough. He logs more hours than probably any 3 volunteers here, and I don't know how we're going to replace him, so I'm looking to volunteers here in the audience to let us know who sign up at the end of the day, please. All right. Now, if you could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Mount Soledad Memorial Association honors all those who have honorably served. But today, we're here to honor the Viking SENSO Association, who proudly serve their country through the lifespan of the S-3. What is a veteran? Defined by federal law, it is any person who has served for any length of time in any military service. But a veteran is something so much more. They can be described as possessing the following traits: honor, courage, commitment, duty, loyalty, sacrifice. They are ordinary men and women who have made the conscious decision to raise their right hand and swear an oath to the United States, to become something greater than themselves. I do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over me, according to regulation and the Uniform Code of Military Justice, so help me God. In the history of the United States, less than 1% of our citizens have taken that oath, but every member of this association did. It's not a simple calling. General Douglas MacArthur summed up military service once in a speech to West Point in 1962. Let civilian voices argue the merits or demerits of our processes of government. Whether our strength is being sapped by deficit financing indulged in too long, by federal paternalism grown too mighty, by crime grown too rampant, by morals grown too low, by taxes grown too high, by extremists grown too violent. These great national problems are not for your professional participation or military solution. Your guidepost stands out like a 10-fold beacon in the night. Duty, honor, country. Serving in the military can mean many things and take many forms. It means pushing yourself beyond your limits, sacrificing for the person standing next to you, fighting for those that can't, and standing up to tyranny. Serving can also mean many other things, leaving your loved ones for long periods of time, missing major holidays, birthdays, and anniversaries, missing significant milestones in the lives of your children, or just missing the opportunity to hug your family members and tell them everything's going to be okay. These sacrifices are not solely the burden of the service member. As those of you here can attest, they are shared by all of those that care for us. And now I'd like to give you a little background on this memorial. The monument behind you was dedicated in 1954 and initially served for veterans who served prior to and during the Korean War. In recent years, the memorial has expanded to include all veterans and is now the largest veterans memorial west of the Mississippi River. On July 17, 2015, a long-held dream was realized when a half-acre parcel of land at the top of Mount Soledad was sold by the United States government to the Mount Soledad Memorial Association. Almost 25 years of litigation. After almost 25 years, Congress passed and President Obama signed the National Defense Authorization Act of 2014, which approved the historic sale of the Mount Soledad Veterans Memorial to the Mount Soledad Memorial Association. Mount Soledad Memorial is one of the highest points of San Diego County, approximately 820 feet above sea level. If you look out a 360 degree view, you will note Torrey Pines Golf Course to the north, Marine Corps Air Station and the Laguna Mountains to the east, the city of San Diego and our very own Naval Air Station North Island, and the country of Mexico to the south, and finally, on a clear day, San Clemente Island amid the great Pacific Ocean to our west. This memorial has some unique characteristics. We honor all military veterans here, serving as far back as the Revolutionary War to current times, both living and deceased. This is the only veteran memorial where the plaques can contain a photo and the war record of those honored. And we have almost 6,000 of those represented here today. The plaques are engraved on a black granite, like the Vietnam Memorial Wall in Washington, D.C. You will find 6 presidents on this wall: Ford, Reagan, Eisenhower, Truman, Theodore Roosevelt. There are 32 Medal of Honor winners represented here. They include the names like Colonel Gregory Pappy Bowington, First Lieutenant Audie Murphy, and from the United States Navy, Navy SEALs, Petty Officer Second Class Michael Mansour, and Lieutenant Michael Murphy. There are also many notable members here. Honorary member of the Armed Forces, Bob Hope, Winston S. Churchill, George Patton, astronaut Wally Schirra, and the subject of the book and movie Unbroken, Louis Zamperini. But today, we're here with the great honor of adding another plaque to these hollowed walls in the name of the Viking SENSO Association. I'd now like to call up Scott Vahalla to the stage.
Welcome, Viking SENSOs, family, and friends, to this special occasion where we will connect the dots between all Viking SENSOs, both past and present. You have no idea how much it means to be standing here at this podium with all of you. The Viking SENSO Association would like to sincerely thank the Mount Soledad Memorial Association for hosting this event and supporting us today. Their Executive Director, Neil O'Connell, John, our host, Becky, who has been such a big help to us, and Bottom Gun, and all the others. Thank you so much for all of your time and efforts. We also thank Michael Timpson and Mr. Kim from Bugles Across America for participating in our ceremony. The VSA especially thanks Tom Taylor, who is highlighted on page 2 of your program, for both his foresight and generosity. In reconnecting the dots, Tom was one of my favorite instructors at VS 41, and then to my good fortune, he served as my leading petty officer for 2 cruises with VS-29. Tom is someone I always truly respected and really admired. That is, except for that one single day. On the 2nd of July in 1981, in the middle of the Indian Ocean on the USS Kitty Hawk. We were asleep in our racks at 5 a.m. when the lights came on, and we were awakened by a timid voice saying, "Cockle-doodle-doo, cockle-doodle-doo." I peeled back my curtain to take a look outside, and there was Ensign Conrad, who was Tom's taco, on his hands and knees, with a collar around his neck attached to a leash. Holding the other end of that leash was Tom, dressed in his swashbuckling shellback attire. His other hand held a 2-foot section of fire hose, and our day immediately went downhill from there. The VSA thanks Pat Hollywood Layler, another reconnected dot, for his generous donation covering today's refreshments. Mark Hall for his donation and efforts with coordinating with our caterer. Scott Murdoch for designing the great programs. Karen and Lissa, and all the others acknowledged in our program that are playing a part in today's event. Lastly, I'd like to thank the members of the VSA board for giving me the opportunity to speak to you today. I am both honored and humbled. I used to love it when our A School and VS-41 instructors would share a sea story with us, especially when they said, "This is a real no-shitter," because it usually ended with a valuable lesson learned. So with that said, I thought I'd start by sharing a sea story, and of course, it's a real no-shitter. So I grew up the son of a Navy chief who served on submarines, but I never thought I would join the Navy until I was 19 years old. My dad was a Navy recruiter at the time, so I told him I wanted to enlist, and he gave me all the books and videos about every rating and asked me to select my top 3 choices. After thoroughly reviewing all the materials, I told him I only wanted to be an aviation anti-submarine warfare operator, but not just any AW. I wanted to be the kind of AW that flew on and off aircraft carriers. 2 months later, in January 1979, I was in Wilmington, Tennessee, waiting to start PWA school. Remember how we could be assigned working parties, like cleaning the barracks, or working in the scullery in the chow hall, or even cleaning up the horse stables on base. After a couple of weeks of this, one night I called up my dad and I told him, "I'm not so sure about being in the Navy." Because I signed up to fly in a jet on and off an aircraft carrier, and they have us shoveling shit in the horse stable. So please excuse my language, but his response was in the typical, colorful form of the English dialect, routinely used by chief petty officers back in those days. And I quote, "Scott, if the Navy wants you to shut the ship, then you be the best goddamn ship shopper that." So the valuable lesson that I learned that day was don't ever complain to a chief petty officer about the Navy, even if he is your own father. Right? 17 months later, after completing the Viking SENSO training finally realized my dream of flying in a jet flying off an aircraft carrier as a Viking SENSO. The excitement and the joy of that shared experience that we all went through is something that we should take great pride in. It's the shared passion of being a Viking SENSO, that feeling of being part of a special brotherhood, the brotherhood of serving in the best enlisted job specialty ever in the history of the U.S. Navy. Celebrate athletes. In most cases, your first war is your most memorable. And our aircrew shop was loaded with talent and a great bunch of guys. We definitely kept Tom Taylor and Joe Moffrey on their toes with some of our antics. There are 9 former Dragon fighters here with us from my first war, along with a few more Dragon fighters that came after me, reconnecting the dots of that shared brotherhood. 2 Dragons from my first tour went on to become Viking SENSO Hall of Famers. The first, Wreath, went on to become an S-3 pilot and landing safety officer, and is the only person qualified flying in all 4 seats of the Viking. The second is Navy Johnson, went on to become the Viking SENSO Ironman with over 3,400 flying hours and 880 carrier-arrested landings. The viewing committee is thrilled that all Viking squadrons from both coasts are represented at this year's reunion. And we applaud the scouts of East Coast Squadron PS-24 for having 10 representatives here. The common myth among all of us is that our time spent as a Viking SENSO was probably the best time of our careers, or maybe even our lives, and that is the link that brought us here today to honor that history. In December 1983, I was assigned to BS-41 and originally replaced Senior Chief Dick Park as the Fleet Viking SENSO Model Manager, which gave me the opportunity to fly not only with SENSO students, but all the West Coast SENSO NATOS instructors. I consider myself extremely fortunate because I had the opportunity and the privilege to fly with so many of you. I checked my flight logbook against our reunion committee list, and I was able to fly with 21 of you that are here this weekend and reconnect those dots. I flew with some of you at least 3 times, like Tom Taylor, John Brannigan, Carl Check, and Brett Robbie Heck. Unfortunately, it also saddens me that 11 SENSOs that I shared a flight with, but their legacy will be honored. Allow me to share a notable first and last 3 entries from my flight logbook, illustrating how the dots are being reconnected. February 1984, I had my first flight with the Viking SENSO student, and it was with Randy Tile. It was his, where's Randy? Okay. It was his second ASW flight, and I remember him being just a little bit cocky. But I could sense the eagerness and the great motivation in him to excel as a Viking SENSO, which he did. I would end up seeing that same motivation in all the other students that I flew with as well. At this point, I need to go off script and share with you a conversation that I had with Randy on Thursday night at the I-Bar. I told Randy that he was the first student that I had the opportunity to fly with, and it was his second flight. And his response back to me was, yeah, I was doing pretty good up to that point. He said, but then I got sodded on my final flight for being too cocky. And I told Randy, I said, Randy, my speech is already written, but you are not going to believe the comment that I put in it about you. And Randy also happens to be a fellow VSA reunion committee member. Fast forward to 1986, which was my last month as a Viking SENSO. On 4 June, I flew with Brett Robinette, who I served with in both 29 and 41, and I once sold a motorcycle to that almost got me killed on the 805. Robbie is another VSA reunion committee member. 6 June, I flew with James Lynn, who I served with in VS 41, and is one of the VSA founding fathers, along with Blair Smith. Betty and I got the opportunity to sail on the Aardvark 2 this weekend, as did many of you, and we thank Jay and Susan for their generosity. June 1986 was my final check flight with another Viking SENSO, and it was with one of the legends, Larry Anderson. I believe in eternal spirits, and I know that Larry is looking down on us today with immense pride and love, and he is especially thrilled that his wife Ellen is here. Ellen, we all thought Larry was a great SENSO. Larry was ranked number 1 of 68 E6s assigned to VS-41 in 1985 on our evaluations. I'll never forget that because I was ranked number 2 of 68. And to his credit, I had to admit to myself that Larry was a better goddamn shit shoveler than I was. So I am just one example of the many dots being reconnected this weekend. Look around at each other and think of all of your own dots that have been reconnected this week and how rewarding the experience has been for you. Our shared past as a Viking SENSO was a magical time in our lives. And hopefully you have been able to recapture some of that magic this weekend. I know I have. Now let me close the loop. My mom passed away 20 years ago. And 12 years ago, my dad began serving as a volunteer here at Mount Soledad. 7 years ago, my father, my brother, and myself all had plaques mounted here on the other side of the cross. My dad comes up here every day, voluntarily, with a spray bottle filled with H2O and a towel to clean all these black granite walls, pick up trash, and care for this Veterans Memorial. It gives the former recruiter that put me in the Navy specifically to be a Viking SENSO a daily purpose in his life and keep his 89-year-old student. I know that our Viking SENSO plaque will always have a sparkle to it as long as Bottom Gun is on watch up here. So last year when Robbie and Blair reached out to me about this event, they had no idea what it really meant deep down to me personally to be here with you today. And now you all know. So with that said, on behalf of the Viking SENSO Association Reunion Committee, it gives us the greatest honor to present to you this beautiful Viking SENSO plaque, dedicated to the enlisted naval air crewman who served as a sensor operator, SENSO, in the S-3 Viking carrier-based anti-submarine warfare aircraft, February 1974 to January 2009. All S-3 squadrons are listed on the plaque, which is located underneath the bouquet of flowers and the honor sign on that wall to my left. Thank you all for being here today and reconnecting all of the dots to all Viking SENSOs, both past and present. At this time, I would like to call my former squadron mate and friend, Brett Robbie Robinette, up to the podium.
There we go. All right. As we gather here today, in the spirit of remembrance and reflection, we stand united in honoring the lives and legacy of those that have passed before us. We gather as a community of strength, resilience, and shared heritage. We gather not in sorrow alone, but with gratitude for the memories and wisdom they have left behind. Each of us carries within us a part of those who have come before us. They are in the stories we tell, the traditions we uphold, and the values and guides our actions. The Viking SENSO Association is built on the foundation of honoring our ancestors, our family, and our kin. Today we pause to reflect on the journeys and the indelible marks that they have left in our hearts and in our history. In the Viking tradition, death is not an end, but a transition. Their ancestors believed that those who passed into the realm of the afterlife continue to live on in the stories of and around the campfire, the songs that are sung, and the echoes of our daily lives. We remember them, not because they're gone, but because they remain with us, woven into the very fabric of who we are. Let us take a moment to thank those who are no longer with us, those warriors, the healers, the wise ones, the storytellers, everyone who has shared our community in their own unique way. Their actions, choices, love, and sacrifice have continued in the legacy we carry forward today. As we remember those that have passed, we should also acknowledge the strength and support of their spouses, their partners, and their family. Their care and devotion made a critical difference in the lives of those who we honor today. The families and spouses who supported them, who loved them through the hardships and triumph, are also a part of the legacy we cherish. They too lived through the trials of life, offering strength when it was most needed. Their courage and loyalty are as much a part of our collective story and history as the achievements of those who have passed. In the halls of Vahalla, Our Viking ancestors sit amongst their gods, but there too, alongside them, are the spirits of the loved ones who supported them on their journey. For their love was not a mere background, but the very force that fueled the strength and resilience of those who fought, worked, and built the world we now live in. May the wisdom and love of those who have passed, and the strength of those who have supported them to continue to guide us as we move forward. Through our remembrance, we are reminded that life is a precious gift, and love is the greatest legacy we can leave behind. We are the living torchbearers of their legacy. May the winds of time carry their memories far and wide, and may we continue to honor their names with the same courage and respect that they showed in life. I will start by reading the names of those we honored at our first gathering in 2023. When we speak their names aloud, we honor that person, their legacy, and the impacts on our lives, ensuring they remain a part of our collective consciousness. AWCS, Dennis Avery. AWCS, Harry Burkett. AW1, Jay DeLong. AWC, John Dyson. AWCM, Clint Elenihi. AWCS, William Donovan. WD Johnson. AW1, Walter Kingsbury. AWC, Mike Knipp. AW1, Mark Long. AWC, John Butch Mathai. AWC, Cecil Miller. AW1, Jim Nilsson. AWC, Charlie Sather. AW1, Bill Smoke. Lieutenant Dennis Teamley. AW1, Dave Wine. AWCS, Robert Bob Wilcox. AW2, Paul Toronto. AW2, David Stenstrom. AW2, Joe Boucher. AWCS, Dave Polanco. And AW1, Dole Gonzo Gonzalez. Now for those that we recognize. Pat Taylor. AW1, Steve Crocus. AWC, Mark Topolsky. AWC, Robert Violet. AWC, Ken Fraser. AWC, Roger Mabry. Wendy Huff. AW2, Andy Brewer. AWC, Mike Foster. AW2, Jeff McCormick. AW2, Trey Mann. AW2, Trevor McCracken. AW1, Gil Gray. AW2, Gary Schaefer. Chief Warrant Officer 3, Bob Croker. AWC, Robert Uncle Bob Walker. AWC, Coley Brewer. AW2, Coley Brewer. AW3, Walter Butch Marquardt III. Julie Ann Gordon. AW3, Jeff Wooten. AW1, Roy Childers. AW2, Richard Lansendorf Jr. AW1, David Fitzpatrick. AWC, Tim Meyer. AW2, Don Stewart. AW3, Charlie Wade. Donna Kinnick. AW3, Katie Adams Langdon. Lieutenant Larry Anderson. AWC Terrence Bryan. AW1 Fast Eddie Boucham. AW3 Mark Briggs. AW1 Dan Slap Evans. AW2 Michael Bill. AW1 Kenneth Higgins. AWC Joe Knicki. AW1 James Lang. AWCM William Lind. AW1 Michael McCurdy. AW3 Jim Menti. AWC Ron Chet Schaefer. AW2 Steve Streeter. AWCM Steve Sweeney. AWC Kent Dabrski. AW1 Jim Tucker. AW3 Kyle Waltz. The final flower. We honor those who came before us, yet to be acknowledged, and all who remain missing in action and forever in our thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The powerful sound of a bugler playing taps is a call to remember those who gave their lives in the service of the United States. Born of a French bugle called tattoo, the melody we know as taps was rearranged in July of 1862 during the Civil War. As the story goes, General Daniel Butterfield was not pleased with the standard call for lights out, feeling that the call was too formal to signal the day's end. With the help of the brigade bugler, Oliver Wilcox Norton, Butterfield wrote taps to honor the death of his men that were lost during the 7-day battle. The call sounded that night soon spread to other units of the Union Army and was even used by the Confederates. After the war, the Army formally adopted the tune for use at military funerals and memorial services. Today, the 24 mournful notes comprising taps are played to commemorate the memory of members of all branches of the armed service. Please rise for the playing of taps. You may be seated. If I could have Becky Epworth join me. Fantastic. I have Bob McCullough join me. Now I'd like to read a tribute to those who served and died. In time of war, they heeded the call. They took up arms, freedom for all. They went to serve in a faraway land. In battles they fought, they took a stand. In honor of country, their duty they performed. For those who died, our country sadly mourned. There were many who fell and gave their lives, leaving behind children, mothers, fathers, and wives. They fought the fight to let freedom reign. In honor of that, their praises we sing. To those who died, we salute you all and give our thanks for heeding the call. Thank you all for being here today. As you know, this memorial look into joining the memorial and participating, as those memberships keep this memorial alive. And in the spirit of keeping this memorial alive, one of the things Scott mentioned in the influence of his father, I want to say that something I didn't mention earlier, the reason I am here on this board of trustees, and honestly the reason I joined the military, not the Air Force, Dad, sorry, but my father, who is the lead docent here and lead cat herder, thank you, Bob Mulrooney, for making this possible. I love you. On behalf of the Mount Soledad Memorial Association, the Board of Trustees, and myself, I would like to leave with one final quote from Elmer Davis. This nation will remain the land of the free only so long as the home of the brave. Thank you very much for joining us today. You may kiss the bride.
Except we got to drive later, so maybe not.
Yeah, you've already been enough trouble this week.
Yes, I have.
I don't think we need to.
Yes. I mean, that was only the first time.
Oh, that's exactly what he said. Yeah. That's good. I just
played. I got
do, but I also need this ladder.
Oh, right.
Tripod's back. Camera's back.
If I could get everybody up here for a group photo on the steps, please, before we start eating, and then we guys are hungry and drowsy. In jackets, please. If you have your flight jackets, please bring the flight jackets. And I request the most mobile of you to go higher up.
That's how you do it now. You can't eat now.